you think of food, when you think of our healthcare systems, like everyone is just trying to scare the shit out of us all the time. And it's so frustrating to me because what we believe is the number one driver. And if you guys have not worked with me as a coach before, I talk about this all the time. Your belief system behind your body and what your body is capable of healing, capable of, completing, everything you believe will become your reality. So if you believe that living in a moldy house for a certain amount of time is going to kill you, I mean, the odds of it killing you is probably quite high because our brain cannot differentiate between whether or not what we believe is true or not. Like, that's crazy, right? And so if we all stood in the mirror every morning and said, like, what do I want to believe today? And then lined up that belief system with our healing pathway, that's where you will become supercharged in the long run with your health. I didn't get healthy because of all of my supplements. I didn't get beautiful skin because of all of the supplements I was taking. I got it because I finally was like, I'm the person who has to wake up every day, put the effort in, and become my own best advocate. No one else can do that for you. No physician, no coach, no one. So I say a lot, you guys, like, I empower you guys to become the CEO of your health. And I truly mean that because I am my own best doctor. You are your own best doctor. You can have a great support system, but if that support system is super negative or likes for you to be sick, it's not good. It's not good. So we were talking about my new mold course. You guys, I listen to you. I promise you, I listen to you when it comes to the cost of surviving mold. I priced this course at $9.97. Like, I don't think I could have priced it any lower. And it's got lots of information in it, okay? So it was the best that I could do pricing wise. And does it cover absolutely everything? No, it would be impossible for me to put everything that I work with, that I help my clients with, into a course. But it is absolutely a functional, fundamental path for you to follow if you don't have the access to work with me or a functional physician or, anyone else on your mold journey. It's a starting point and you'll get so much great information from it. So that was my goal in creating Mold Mastery. We've got a few people on. I would love to hear like your guys' questions or your stories surrounding mold. Feel free to ask me anything. I can also talk more about my mold story. And just, the difference between someone who has genetic markers of mold versus those of us who don't, because it's not the same. And we do respond very differently. But even if we don't have the genetic marker, and let's say we've been living in black mold for a really long time, it will eventually catch up with you. It took my husband a lot longer to get sick, but then when he finally did, everything happened like all at once. It was like a snap of a finger. He went from no symptoms to, I think we were on a trip to Vegas actually, and we were with friends. He'd had a cocktail, and he just kept going to the bathroom. And our friends looked at me and they were like, "What is going on with your husband? Like, he has gone pee like 5 times in the last hour." And all of a sudden it like clicked in my head. I was like, oh my gosh. And we ended up having mold in our new house that we had moved to Colorado in. So again, it doesn't matter whether you have a new build or a 1920s home. Mold doesn't discriminate. It's one of the nicest things about it. It will like hang on and show up for you every day, no problem. Which can make it a pain in the ass to get rid of also. But once we figured that out, remediated, it happened to be in our master bathroom, which was also bleeding into our bedroom. I finally was able to feel really, really good. Oh, Amanda said, how long does it take to detox? Oh, this is so specific to the person. It depends on how long you have been exposed to mold, but it also depends on your detox pathways, okay? So if your detox pathways are fully open, you've been someone who is able to sweat easily, you've been someone who has been I always say you can tell a person that detoxes well because you look at their skin looks bright, the whites of their eyes look bright, their hair looks very healthy, all of those different things. You can also tell someone who doesn't detox at all by they typically will have acne, they may have red patches on their face, their skin isn't going to look great, the whites of their eyes aren't going to look great, they may have gut issues. Um, so where you're starting makes a huge difference on how long it takes to detox. For me personally, because I'd been exposed in so many different places for so long, I mean, it took me every bit of 3 years to really get everything under control. How about eyelid inflammation? Still dealing with it after years. Okay, so a lot of times we can get mycotoxins trapped in here. And so if you haven't done a nasal killing protocol, because remember, this is all connected, right? So we have lymph nodes that are sitting here, which is where a lot of people who've been exposed to mold for a really long time, they will get, much like myself, chronic sinus infections, and mine would be really bad where like my whole face would swell up. And usually it's just because there's mycotoxins trapped in here. So if you haven't done a nasal killing profile yet, I would highly recommend doing nasal killing here, which will help with the eye inflammation. But then a lot of times I just see that like our eyes are extremely dry. We are just on screens too much, not outside enough. The hydration that we're getting in our body isn't quality. My favorite eye trick is using castor oil. So using organic cold pressed castor oil, I put it on my eyes pretty much every single night. I rub it here and it is thickums, you guys. It is a very, very thick oil, but you're just going to rub it on the top and on the bottom, and it does wonders. Does wonders for eye twitching, eye dryness, eye inflammation, because what castor oil does is it brings blood flow to whatever area. So what I will say is if you're going to use it on your skin and you have any sort of like rosacea, I probably would not put the castor oil there. But as long as your skin is good, you don't have any redness happening, feel free to use it anywhere and everywhere. I do, and it helps exponentially. But remember, the sinuses are connected. This is all connected. So if you haven't done nasal killing, I would highly recommend, I mean, I think everyone should do a nasal killing protocol at least once a year. And that's just because, yeah, we get mycotoxins stuck up there. Ooh, yeah. So if you get nosebleeds as well, definitely want to do a nasal treatment. There are ones that you can get from functional medicine physicians that are going to be a little bit stronger. But in the course, I do put my two favorite products that you can use without going to a physician that will work. You just have to do it a little bit longer because it's not as strong. Feel free to use castor oil. It's also a really good pain remedy. So if you've never used it for pain, you can take castor oil and you mix a little bit of cayenne pepper and just like make it into a paste. And then I will put it on whatever area has pain, let it sit overnight. It does get a little bit spicy, which I like, but it is such a great pain reliever. Amanda said, does it help with period cramps too? We're talking about castor oil right now, you guys. So yes, castor oil is the jam. You can actually put it in your belly button for women. And especially if you have an innie. If you don't, you can just use like a castor oil pack and put it directly on your skin of your stomach. You can use your finger, massage it in your belly button, and it works for men too as well. It can help with constipation and other things. And you can massage it for like a minute every single night. The only time you don't want to put castor oil in your belly button is when you're actually on your period, because again, it brings blood flow. So if we're already bleeding, we don't want to be doing that. So let me recap. Just for any of you who didn't hear, I went through the table of contents of, kind of everything that's included in the mold course, but I'll do it one more time. We talk about, my story, kind of how I came to be a mold expert in this space. We talked about understanding mold allergies, the difference between mold and mycotoxins. There is a difference. Decoding the MTHFR genetic mutation, which is what I call the motherfucker gene. We talked about 12 mold types. all the symptoms I had when I had mold and food sensitivities, and why Coach Leah is not a fan of taking food sensitivity tests. Testing your body for mold, which foods to avoid at the beginning. Should you avoid them long term? No, but the beginning, absolutely. Yeah, a mold-free living space, navigating if you guys do get a positive mycotoxin test. I think that, again, there's so much fear surrounding it. People are like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You know, who's going to help me? And I do think support is the most important thing as you're going through it. And it's the one thing that I wish I had when I was going through my journey. Um, and honestly, TikTok was the one place that I just kept making videos and talking about it because I had no one else that really understood it and talked about it. So I was like, well, hopefully someone will see this video and it can support you guys and help you. Talked about detox strategies, lymphatic health. Lymphatic, I could talk about all day. If you guys have never had a lymphatic massage, I highly recommend getting one, even if you've never been exposed to mold. I think they're so important. And I do lymphatic drainage on myself daily. A lot of people don't know that if you had your tonsils out as kids, which I think most people had, I definitely did, your lymphatic system will suffer because of that, because the tonsil is a very necessary component of our drainage. But most of us don't have one anymore. So we tend to get puffy in this region, in our lymphatic system here, and then under our armpits, and then through here has a harder time draining every single day. And remember, you're the CEO of your health. Nobody else. Not me, not your physicians. You are. And I'm cheering for you always.